My friend, first, happy holidays. I am so excited because usually, maybe 2 times a year, especially when it comes to the warm weather, Cirque du Soleil has been part of my calendar uh, every year for the last, definitely 2 decades plus and more,
Wow.
because I always love this. I've never had a holiday version of this. So I want to dive right into this, man, because you are the brains behind this. How did we get such a wonderful holiday gift?
You know, uh, I have to say, we're so excited. This is our first time in Toronto with Twas the Night Before. It's our fifth season of Twas the Night Before, but it's our first time in a Canadian city, and we're so excited that we're here in Toronto.
I love that. How does this story work? What's the story about? Because the thing is, for folks who've never been to Cirque du Soleil, there's always a wonderful story that really brings people together. And I'm figuring that's not the other ones aren't even holiday stories. This one is, so this is going to be more heartwarming, I think.
Yeah, and this is actually a show that was created specifically for the theater. So that's something quite new for us as well. Usually our shows are in big tops or in these big halls in hotels. And here we wanted a more intimate experience, a more sort of Broadway style show. And so when the idea of putting a Christmas show together, it was just so much fun. We had a great creative team, all veterans from Cirque du Soleil who have done numerous shows with us before. And when we started talking about what would make a great Christmas show, the thing that just kept coming up was this iconic poem, "Twas the Night Before Christmas," or "A Visit from St. Nicholas."
Oh, wow. So something that I have heard since I was a child, in some way, shape, or form, I'm going to get to see this finally in person.
Exactly, exactly. And I think what's fun about it too is that I think we all remember it in some way. Either it was read to us as kids or we read it to our kids. For me, it was great to sort of rediscover the poem. There's a lot that I knew, of course. "'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse." Those classic lines. But then there were a lot of new or lines that I rediscovered that I had maybe missed as a child or didn't really connect with. And now it was so fun to kind of to go back and look at the poem again and sort of take it apart and find out different stanzas that were really beautiful and link that to different acts or different characters.
Now, characters. You did something very, very interesting. What characters are you going to see? And also, there's always a one or two or somebody who helps tell the story. Who are
Yes.
going to be these characters who are going to be involved in this?
So actually, it's a really good point. So what's really kind of fun about this show is there's a lot of dance. We have this really fantastic choreographer named Ving, who's with Kin Jazz in LA, and he brought a really urban, modern dance feel to the show. And so we have six dancers. We call them les Tucs, and they are dressed as little kids and snowball fights and all that sort of thing. And then ultimately, we find out that they're actually Santa's elves. And they really guide our lead character all the way through the show and do some beautiful, beautiful dance routines throughout.
Now, I am used to big top, big time, big everything. But you said this is a stage show. So, how do we compress all of that energy just on stage? And for the performers, too, how do they adjust to it? Because they're used to all of the space that they're usually having.
Yes,
Now it's not so much. I mean, this really shows how talented they are.
it really is. It's what I think was really fun about this was that we built it specifically for this exact space. So we wanted it to have a more intimate feel. We still have the artist going into the audience, so there's that sort of connection as well, with which is really fun. We have these amazing Diablo act that are, they'll run into the audience and they'll throw this Diablo, I don't know how many meters, all the way to the stage. We get people up on stage as well. So it's a really fun atmosphere. And I think definitely if you've seen a Cirque du Soleil show before, you can relate to all these amazing acrobatics. But if you haven't, it's a really great introduction to Cirque. I think it's a really good sort of first step into the Cirque world, and kind of a blend between theatricality and circus.
I absolutely cannot wait for this. As we wrap this up, what do you want fans to know about this? Especially, like you said, for some who have never been, and this is a great introduction, and then the veterans like myself, what do you want to tell us that, you know, that really gets us prepared for this spectacular event?
You know what we hear, there's two things that I hear again and again, which really make me happy. And often now when I watch the show, I don't really watch the show. I sort of am watching people around me and listening to comments. And it's that it gets people really into the Christmas spirit. It's bright and colorful and joyful. And the other thing that I hear so much is people are so excited about the music. And so our
Yes.
composer, who's fantastic, Jean-Philippe Goncalves, who's written for many Cirque du Soleil shows, not only created new pieces that have a very Christmas feel to it, but he reimagined a lot of the pieces that we know so well. And I think that's what's really fun is people come away and just they're either singing the music or they're looking to see how they can download it because it really has a fun Christmas, joyful energy to it.
You know, you were reading my mind because as you were speaking before you just mentioned about the music, I was like, oh, geez, I forgot the songs. I've got to ask about the music. And one other thing I want to ask too, because there's usually one or two amazing vocalists who are singing. Are we going to have this again? I'm
So
hoping.
we don't have any live vocalists. We have vocalists that are pre-recorded, but
Okay.
we have some beautiful voices. But I think instead of that sort of we really geared towards having more dance into this show, so it'll be a little different from some of the other shows we have.
Doesn't matter. It's always going to be spectacular. It's always going to be great. Thank you so much for doing this interview. And thank you to everybody at Cirque du Soleil for putting us on your calendar list to come to us to finally get this great show after 5 years. We cannot wait for this. What a way to celebrate the holidays. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And cannot wait to see this show.
Merry Christmas. We'll see you soon.